So the first thing, I'll just kind of dive right in. There's kind of a lot to cover. I haven't actually tested out the clicker yet, so bear with me a little bit. So the first thing you're doing wrong, you can flip over your papers. I won't yell at you. Nothing. So this doesn't mean that you're doing nothing wrong. It's a little bit misleading, but it's a little twofold. So you may not be on Facebook at all, and there are conversations happening, and people are probably talking about you. And even if you haven't made a Facebook page, chances are the Places page is out there, and people can still check in, they can still leave reviews, and they can still comment. They can say great things, they can say negative things, but you aren't a part of the conversation. So really the first step of not doing nothing is getting on Facebook. And so once you're there, you have to make a profile, you have to fill it out, and you have to post regularly. So being there just isn't enough. It's kind of like the lights are on and no one's home. If you're there and you're not saying anything, and you've created a page and it looks great and it looks wonderful, you're still not doing the social part of social media. So here, I really when I was looking for examples, I wanted to make sure that I got people outside of Fresno, because I don't want to make anyone too sad. But here's one where if you look, it's a cute little page. They have a cover photo, they have a little profile photo. They're not necessarily non-existent, but they haven't posted since September of 2014, which I just took this screenshot yesterday, so it's a pretty long time. Their cover photo, if you saw that, you probably wouldn't know what it is. Branding is so important, especially on social media, and if all people are seeing in their news feeds is this little tiny picture, I wouldn't know that was your storefront. So putting your logo on there is really important. It's what you want people to recognize when they're looking at your product, when they're looking at your service or your building. So I would almost always suggest putting your logo as your cover or as your profile photo, and then having a nice cover photo. A picture of ice cream, it would look really nice, but they've cut it off in the middle. It's just, there's not a lot of great things happening on this page. For an ice cream parlor, something you would need to know is hours of operation. When can I go to the ice cream parlor? And they're not on there. How can I contact? If there's a website, a phone number, all of these little things that Facebook really does walk you through what you need to know. So your about, your mission, your services, all of these things that help people know who you are and know what you do. And they also help with SEOs. So your search engine optimization. So it's those keywords that attach to your name, to your title. JP Marketing, if you search advertising agencies, our Facebook actually comes up pretty high on the rankings, and it's because we have all of that information filled out and we're posting about things regularly about our services and about things that are related to what we do. So, how to do it right. Step 1, claim your profile, which we talked about. Fill out all applicable sections, phone number, website, hours of operation, mission, services, etc. Upload your logo, add a cover photo, and then try and post as regularly as possible. Really 2 to 3 times a week will be enough, depending on how many fans you have. If you're starting at 100 fans and you're posting 7 times a day, you're probably going to annoy them too. So post regularly, but don't post so much that you're driving your fans crazy. So, if anyone does have any questions, just feel free to interrupt me because, oh, there you go. Well, I will tell you right now. So the second thing that you're doing wrong, or you may not be doing wrong, but talking too much about yourself. So that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that companies make when they're on social media, is just regurgitating all of their services all the time. I wrote a blog post probably around Valentine's Day about how dating is like social media. So if you're on a first date and the person you're dating is just talking about themselves, like, I like walks on the beach, I like this is my favorite book, you're probably not going to date that person again because they're not holding a conversation with you. So what do you talk about on a date? You talk about what you and your followers have in common or what you and your date has in common. You talk about common interests. So here's an example, Snowflake Designs. They are a leotard company. They make leotards for across the world. So they could talk about their leotards all the time, and they do talk about their leotards. But here's a video of Nastia Liukin and I think it was her 2008 Beam routine. And fans loved it. They have about, I think, like 1,500 likes on the post. So it's not, I mean, she's not wearing a Snowflake Designs leotard. It's not promoting their company. It's just sharing something that they have in common with their fans, that their fans love, that their fans want to talk about. And so you know more about your company than anyone. And so you know what questions you get. You know what people want to know about. So the second thing is, what questions are you asked the most? So if you're having a meeting with a client or a customer comes in, what are some of the things that they ask you? I think building out kind of an FAQ is a really great way to start thinking about content. Instead of just talking about yourself, what are they asking you? What do they need to know? So like what kind of business do you have?
Wholesale distributing.
Okay. So you're Salters Distributing, right?
Salters, yeah.
Yeah.
So besides my family,
Yeah.
it seems to be mostly business associates.
Okay.
That either own stores, run stores.
So what are some of the questions that you'll get in meetings?
I don't get any direct questions. I set it up, I made it look pretty, and I'm the first person you showed that hadn't been on since September. I don't know what to say on there.
Yeah.
I posted 2 weeks ago, David was in Sacramento at the Capitol talking about the gas tax that's going to affect our industry.
Mhm.
So I put that on there.
Yeah. Stuff like that is great. Or you could even, distributing's hard. I know.
First of all, if you could repeat the question because they're recording.
Oh, yes.
So you're mic'd and we're not.
Okay, so the question was, she works for a wholesale distributing company, and so what are the types of things that they post?
I would post about all of the products.
Yeah, you can post about all of your products.
I put all of our product racks on there.
Mhm.
Got the shoot for you guys.
But I totally like, like you sell sunglasses. You could find an article about how sunglasses protect your eyes from UV damage or whatever. Pick up a pair today at your local convenience store.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good post idea, but trying to think beyond just what you sell. So from the consumer perspective, maybe the best way to display your products, which you already do. But something that the company that's purchasing from you, that's going to be following you, needs to know. So how to buy your products, how to place an order, when is the best time to start stocking up on winter items or summer items, or when to get those in stock.
And would the post be like a shared article? I mean, I don't have to write an article as an expert.
So the question was, would the post have to be a shared article? You can share. So
She shared the video.
yeah, so a good thing to do is find businesses and companies that have something similar with you. So some of the businesses that buy from you, you can follow them. And as a page, you can go on there and actually share their content too. So it's kind of a great way that you don't always have to be coming up with the content, but just sharing from people who are like-minded. So we'll go on to, this is an example I grabbed from Community Coffee. They are a coffee company. They do like Keurig cups and things like that. So here they are talking about their coffee, but one of the questions that they may have gotten often is, what do you pair the coffee with? What are you going to be eating it with? Or what works well with it? And so it was Easter, so they picked 3 different common Easter brunches and picked a coffee to go with each. So it's something that it does sell their product a little bit, but it's beyond that. It's more of what kind of questions they might be getting. So find out what's trending. This is a really good way just to see what's popular right now, what's being talked about right now, it may not always apply to you. In fact, sometimes it won't, but it's a really great way to go on and see what are the most popular topics. You can also do it on Facebook. If you're on your news feed, on the right-hand side, you can see what's trending. And when you're posting about those topics, it'll pop up more in your followers' news feeds. So this is what Google Trends looks like. You can see yesterday was National Beer Day. For some of you, that may not apply to you. For others, it might. But if you were posting about it because it's such a popular topic, or it was yesterday, it's going to be popping up in more people's news feeds. And if you can relate your topic to something that is already popular, you'll get up there. So share news or new technology in your field. So the example of the new state laws for the sharing news that's happening. Or if there's new technology, like for marketing, or for me, for social media, if a new app comes out, or Facebook changes its rules again on me for the 100th time, I can post about it. So here's one from iBike Fresno. It was around Oscars time, and one of the actors rode his bike to the Oscars. So it's just some easy, really quick content that's urgent. It's happening right now. It's newsworthy, and this one wasn't exactly new technology, but it's something that people want to kind of have a conversation around. And then the last one is share photos from your followers. So the best way to really have a conversation with your followers is to scratch them on the back a little and say, you know, thanks for your photos, thanks for being a great customer, and sharing their content. And this is one from a car dealership that we manage. A photographer went in and took photos. We also manage a restaurant, and we share their photos. It's a really great way to show your users that you care, to show that you're listening to them, that you know that they're talking about you, and that you are engaged in the community. And it's just kind of back to the whole dating metaphor. If you're dating someone, you want to tell them like, oh yeah, we like you, we like what you're doing, we're keeping the conversation going. So, to the third thing that you're doing wrong. Oh, ignoring the details. So this is one you can be posting, you can be doing posts, and you're coming up with content, and it may be great and it may be interesting, but it just doesn't look good. And this is one thing that probably drives me the most crazy. So this is one from the Family Business Magazine, which we probably need to talk to them. But if this is actual size post, and if anyone can read the cover of that magazine, you win an award tonight. I couldn't even tell you who the company was on the front of that magazine. And since it is the Family Business Magazine, I know they have the artwork, so they could have put something nice and big up there that looked good. And they have a few likes on it, but no one knows what's going on in that photo. No one can celebrate the family business that's on the front because no one knows who it is. I'm assuming they're a trucking company, but I couldn't tell you who they are. So really paying attention to making sure you have good photos, they're the right size, which I'll give you the sizes, and that they're legible. If there's too much words on them, you're not going to be able to read them. And I mean, this is one where it's a magazine cover, so obviously it's going to have a lot of words, but if you're posting a flyer and it has a lot of details on it, people can't read it. So save that detail for the description or somewhere else. Really try and make the photo look great. The best thing that you can do is, as a company, make your posts look as much like what a friend would be posting. So my friend Joanne, I want to see her pictures. And people engage with brands, but you need to look like it's grassroots, like you're using good photos, that it's something that they want to look at. I don't want to look at this. So my next little ignoring the details. So this is another example of really not using a smart photo. Links, you can upload a really big, nice photo, and it takes up a lot of space, and it looks really great in a news feed. And up here we have, you've posted the link, but the link is still posted in the description too, which you really just don't need. And you can actually edit the link title and the link description. So it gets cut off a little. So I know it's at the North Florida Fairgrounds from February or April 3rd. I don't really know what's happening at the end of that sentence. You can actually click and edit that so it can say what you want.
How do you do that?
When you put the link in, before you hit post, you just click directly on it. And it'll become just an editable little box, and you can write in there, and it'll preview what it looks like so you don't have to guess on the length of characters. And then the same with the photo. You can click upload photo right on the photo in the link preview, and you can upload the photo that you want.
So, well, the photo that's in that box is formatted incorrectly, I'm going to say. When you say upload photo, are you taking it from something you already have, or are you bringing in that photo in a better format?
You could bring in that photo in a better format, or you can bring in something you already have.
Okay.
So it's up to you. When you click upload photo, you're just uploading it directly from something off of your computer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that's the.
Yeah, so you need to have the photo saved to your computer to do it. So this is one example of Lennar Central Valley. So they use really big, beautiful photos, and it's a home builder. It needs to look pretty. It needs to look like something you want to live in. And so having a tiny little photo where you can't see detail just really isn't doable. And they have, luckily they have access to great photos. And you can use stock photography, you can use photos, honestly cell phone photos, if you light them right and make sure that they're focused, they're perfectly fine for web. They don't have to be big, fancy, professional photography photos. If you have those, great, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. So here's another example of a link. So this wasn't the actual photo, but this is how big a link photo can be. And it really does take up a nice space. You can upload whatever photo you want. This one was about spring cleaning and going and following them on Pinterest for their spring cleaning tips. But yeah, you can edit everything on there. So you have complete control. You just have to stop and take 30 seconds and really try and think about it. So here are just some of my tips. So make sure your photos are the right size. So if you are doing a timeline photo, which is just uploading a photo, that's the best, most optimum size for a timeline. And then if you're doing a link image, that is the size that they suggest. So if you have any just standard photo editor on your computer, you can size them to that size. Or at least that, yeah.
I had a problem with the picture today. I uploaded a tall, skinny photo.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it made it look very strange and just showed the middle of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
I should have somehow formatted that into a square photo before I uploaded it.
Yeah, it's not exactly square. Facebook just changed it in the last like 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, but it's going to look goofy on your page because of the way that they have it formatted. So a really great tool, if you want to write this down, is called Canva, canva.com, and you can go canva.com, and it has all of the social media sizes predetermined in there, and it's pretty simple to follow. You can just click on the different posts that you want. If you want a link, if you want a cover photo, if you want a timeline graphic, you just click on it, and then you can upload your photo in there. It gives you some really great tools. I would go and try and play around with it a little. It's pretty fun. Yeah. And then edit link titles. So some things you probably want to think about when you're editing link titles. What would make you click? So you don't necessarily want to give all the information away in your post. You want them to click on it, especially if it's a post going to your website. So if you are talking about the health benefits of cucumber, I don't know, that's all I have on the top of my head. You don't want to say cucumber is great for helping with dehydration. You don't want to write everything in the post. You want to have a link title that says cucumber could save your life. Click here to find out why. Or something that's a little enticing so you're not giving away everything up front, but you're giving away just enough to make people want to click. It's kind of like, I think it's that old Ellen joke where the TV program is, or the news program is, it could be killing you and you're eating it for dinner, find out now, or find out at 7 p.m. tonight. So you kind of want something to make people click, especially if it's going to your website. If you give everything away, they just read the post and they go away. They don't engage with it. They don't want to share it. They don't do a whole lot. So yeah, so what can you say without giving the entire article away? Edit link descriptions, just make sure they're the right size. Are you getting cut off mid-sentence? Does the description make sense? Sometimes when you put a link in, it just has random gibberish that pulls from the website. It could just pull the description of the website, not exactly the article, so try and make sure that it makes sense. And then don't keep the link in the post description. That is just a personal pet peeve of mine because it's really not necessary. Your link's right below, and if they're going to click on it, it just looks nicer. So, the fourth thing that you're doing wrong is thinking that all things in life are free. So, Facebook is a business, and in the last year and a half, they've really made people pay. And they've made a lot of small businesses, their Facebook pages have suffered because they are doing a pay-to-play game. And the good thing is that when you are spending money on Facebook, as far as advertising, it really can go a long way if you're doing it strategically and smart. But it's not free anymore. You can post and you can do a great job and you can share the best content in the world, but if your page has been a little quiet for a while, it's because Facebook's organic reach has completely dropped off. So here's a fun little chart over probably the last year. So as you can see, the more Facebook stock grows, the less organic reach you're getting. And it really is affecting small businesses the most. But all hope really isn't lost. If you are spending money on advertising, I think Facebook is a really great place to spend it. And you don't have to spend a lot. And you can even use, you can use just $25 a week. You could use $10 a week and just target it to reach the followers that you already have because they already love you, they already love your content, but Facebook's just dropped you off of their news feeds for a while and they're not seeing your content, they're not engaging with it. But if you boost it, the people who already love you, already love your products, already love your services can start seeing your posts again and engaging with them again, and it can help boost your organic reach actually. You just have to pay. So I would say try and promote posts regularly. Yeah.
In terms of buying versus organic,
Mm-hmm.
with the organic, does actually Facebook is sophisticated enough to say, okay, you're spending money with me, now I'll do some more, give you more organic? Is that?
It's not necessarily that. So because you're paying for people to see your posts, more people are engaging with them, and that engagement drives more organic reach. So it's just kind of a natural byproduct of it. It's not, oh, you're paying for things, so we're gonna give you a bump up. It's that you're paying for this and this engagement and people naturally seeing your posts. The fact that you paid one person to see your post, and if they liked it, they might see your post next time and you didn't have to pay for that, but they've recently engaged with your page. So just by a natural byproduct, your organic reach goes up.
Okay, and I've also heard that it's like, I send out my posts and only 10%, 20% see it.
I mean, that's actually good. It's scary. It's dropped almost to like 1 to 2%. Yeah. So if you're getting 10, 20%, that's great. And you can, just by spending $5, $10 a week, you can reach the people that already like you. You can,
What if I want to reach beyond?
well, you can do that too. So one of the things that I suggest most, you can see here, this is what it looks like when you go to boost a post. So if you are looking at your post, you just click boost post in the bottom right hand side, and this is what pops up. So you can just promote it to people who like your page, Or what I would normally suggest is doing people who like your page and their friends, because it's kind of working under the assumption that if they like you, their friends probably have similar characteristics and will probably like you too. So this one you can see for $5, we have about 48,000 people that are included in the people who like your page and their friends. And I think we have 950 friends, and it multiplies that much to 48,000. And so for $5, we can get about 2,500 people to see our post. And that's really not that much money. It's not something, if you buy a radio spot, you're probably never gonna get that kind of return on your investment. For $5 for 2,500 people to see your ad or to see you talking, it's just not gonna happen anywhere else. So it's a small investment, but there's a lot of great things that you could do. I could honestly talk to you for probably 2 hours straight about Facebook ads and never get through all of the amazing things you can do. But for just something really simple, spending $5 to $10 to boost your posts every once in a while, if you're having a sale, if you have an event coming up, if you've had some really great news for your company and you want to talk about it, just spend $5, spend $10 and see what it does. I would really, really suggest it. And then just test it out. So if you post a picture and try promoting that, is that working? Is that getting more engagement? Or if you want to create an offer, you can actually see how many people claim the offer. So if I'm doing 25% off cheeseburgers, then I can make an offer and a coupon, I can promote it for $10, and I can see exactly how many people claimed my offer. So even if 10 people claimed my 25% off cheeseburgers, I'm not very good at math, so this isn't gonna go well for me. Okay, and my cheeseburger is $10, so I'm making $7.50. I'll make $75 from 10 people, and I promoted it for maybe $10. So it's just something really small that can help a lot. You can test out links, clicks to your website. There's a lot of different things that you can do. If you have any questions about Facebook advertising afterwards, I can go into a little bit more.
I think it's kind of important just to note that it doesn't have to be a cheap offer.
Oh, it doesn't have to be it doesn't even have to be an offer.
No.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know, what's the pricing, like the Porsche?
yeah, so for Porsche Fresno, it's honestly, it doesn't sound like a good offer to me, but it's like $199 for a platinum detail, which I'm never gonna get my car detailed for $199, but we have probably, I think I just posted it a week and a half ago, and we've had like 60 people claim it, which I think I spent, it's a lot of money. I mean, it adds up really, really quickly. So yeah, I honestly can't do math right now in my head. But I mean, it just,
$100 in sales, basically.
yeah, from a $50 post. So it really, you kind of have to think about it and sit down and think, okay, what could we offer? What could we talk about? What should we be promoting? And just try it out. Just for 2 weeks, say, okay, I'm gonna have $25 or $50 and just promote some of my posts and see what happens. Yeah.
When you get a boost and it goes through your contact or your friends, other friends,
Mm-hmm.
does the system know not to send that out repetitiously to the same person? It will only send it out, like if this friend has a mutual friend to this friend,
Mm-hmm.
are they gonna get the double posting or are they gonna just get a one post?
Facebook tries to make sure that if someone's seen the post, they're not going to see it a million times. For more advanced advertising, I have some ads running that have multiple pictures. So even if the same person is getting the same ad, they're getting different pictures every time, so it's not looking the same. Yeah. So there are ways that you're doing advertising, but you're not paying for one person to see the post a million times, and then it doesn't do a whole lot. So the fifth thing, this one's probably my favorite. I just watched one of my favorite social media speakers talk about it a few weeks ago. So ignoring your haters. Everybody wants to do it because social media is one place that people will just complain. And it doesn't matter if you have perfect customer service. It doesn't matter if you do everything right. If they had a bad experience and you talked to them and you thought everything was great, they could still go home and write something terrible about you. And then the whole world can see it. And so you can't ignore them. I think people really respond to seeing negative comments on Facebook and seeing the company respond to them and say, we hear you, we're sorry, how can we fix this? So here's an interesting stat I got from Edison Research. Facebook is the most popular place on social media for people to complain. It is, and all of their friends can see it, their family can see it, all of your followers can see it. It is the most popular place for people to complain. Instagram really isn't built for people to complain, it's just sharing pretty pictures, but Facebook sets it up so they can post to your page, they can review, they can comment on all of your things and tell the whole world why they hate you. So you just can't ignore them. So responding to a complaint increases advocacy by 20%. So if someone complains and you say, look, I'm so sorry about your experience, I'm really sorry you had this I don't know what to say, like this is our fault, how can we fix this? Maybe they're not going to become your #1 fan, but they could. But the people who are reading that and seeing that you care about your followers and you care about your customers enough to take the time to write them a heartfelt, genuine apology means the world. It doesn't always take away a negative review, but it can turn that negativity into a really positive experience for someone and a positive experience or a positive view on your brand. So this is my how to do it right. Respond quickly as humanly possible. 39% of social media complainers expect a response within 1 hour. And I know on weekends this isn't ideal. I had someone complaining at about 9:30 last night, and I had to talk to them and talk them off a ledge. But if you don't respond within the first few hours or the first day, they're gone. They don't want to talk to you. You can't really fix the situation. So you need to respond as quickly as possible. So if that is putting the Facebook Pages app on your phone and getting alerts when people are posting to your page, I would really suggest that. I always try and check Facebook right before I go to bed because people are off work. Between 6 and 8 o'clock is probably the most time that they're commenting on your stuff, the most time that they're on Facebook and taking the time to write things. So be sure you check it when you go to bed. Try and check it when you get up in the morning or when you first get to work if that's not doable. But just try and respond to the complainers. Respond to your haters and tell them you're sorry. Comcast is one that they get probably the most complaints. I think Delta Airlines is up there too. And they have entire social media pages. They have an entire Twitter page dedicated solely to handling complaints. So if you tweet to Comcast, my service technician was 5 hours late, they have an entire Twitter page to handle all of that. And I'm hoping that none of you need anything that extensive, but just try and respond to them. Try and be thoughtful about it. Here are some of my best tips. So respond quickly. Apologize. There's a saying, like the best apology has 3 things. I'm sorry, it's my fault, and what can I do to make it right? So maybe it's not your fault, and maybe those 3 things you don't have to say every time. There are exceptions, but just sit there and think, if they had a bad customer service experience, you need to say I'm sorry, you need to apologize, you need to take responsibility for it, and you need to try and make it right. You need to either give them a phone number that they can call and talk to. You need to tell them, you know, I'm going to talk to my sales rep about what happened and about your experience. Be genuine. You shouldn't sound like a robot. I think that's the #1 thing across all social media is be as genuine as possible. you are a business, but you still are a person too. They want to talk to the person in your business, especially when they're upset. You need to be as genuine as possible. They don't want to feel like you're just copying and pasting a response, a generic response like, oh, sorry about that. Like, you need to be genuine about it, be thoughtful in your response, hear them, and really try and bring, this is another great one, try and bring the conversation off of the public platform. So if they're commenting directly on your page, ask them to send you a private message, ask them to call you. Don't try and argue with them over social media. Don't try and defend yourself. Don't try and just keep the conversation going. Try and get it offline as quickly as possible, because the more negativity that person might bring online, it could shine poorly on you. And then that's probably one of the biggest one is never point fingers or try to argue. I've seen a lot of businesses try and do that. When a person is angry and they're behind a computer, you really can't defend yourself. Even if they might be in the wrong, you need to at least say something, but you can't throw blame back on them. I had one of the car dealerships we handled, someone posted a comment that was, "You've repoed my car, I can't believe you guys are awful, blah, blah, blah." So in that instance, it's really not the car dealership's fault, but I needed to respond to something because a lot of people might not know. It's the financial institution that repos your car, not the dealership, but it's this really glaring bad review now on the dealership's page. So in that instance, I responded and said, "Hi, I'm really, really sorry about your experience. I'm really sorry to hear that you're having troubles. Unfortunately, we can't help you with this. You'll need to contact your financial institution. We don't have the authority to repossess anything, but good luck, and we really wish you the best in the future." So it may not be your fault, but you need to address it somehow, because people may not know that. People may think that it's your fault and that you're these mean people who stole someone's car. But you just need to kind of clear the air and apologize and try and be as nice as possible, because you don't know who's on the other side of that computer and how much they might continue to write about you. So the very, very last thing that you're probably, I would assume most of you are doing wrong, is not tracking what you're doing. So you may be doing posts, you may be getting more fans, you may be doing a great job, but how do you know if you're not tracking it, if you're not seeing what posts are working? So how do you know that it's working? Facebook, you don't have to really pay for anything. Facebook Insights is great. There are some other services that you can use, but if you just use Facebook Insights, it gives you a really great look into what's going on your page. So as you can see here, you can see how much post reach you got. So that's how many people actually saw your post that week. You can see how many page likes you got. You can see how many people were actually engaged with your post. So how many people are talking to you. You can see how many new likes you've got on your post, comments, shares, how many people have clicked on your post. You can see everything that you really need to see. You just need to take a little time to look at it. So if you click onto your posts in Insights, you can see the exact posts that went up. So this is JP's from last week. So the Great JP Easter Egg Hunt of 2015, people really liked that picture and engaged with it. So it's nice to look at this and say, okay, here's what's working. This post, maybe you can see the type of posts. So there are pictures, there are links, there are just plain posts with no pictures or links. You can see which type of posts are up there. You can see what posts they are. You can see what's working, how much reach did they get, how much engagement did they get. If you did boost it, you could see how far your dollars went. You can see everything. You just need to look and then look at that and say, okay, well, this post about the topography lovers, it was a video about this really great artist doing some topography. So, all right, we should probably do more of those. People really liked it. So keeping track of stuff like that and then knowing, all right, this is the content that works, and trying to find more of that and do more of that in the future. Yeah.
So you would
What do you mean? A
Like,
conversation?
it's saying boost post over there.
So,
This post already happened on April Fool's Day.
mhm,
If it was still relevant the next day or the day after, you would boost it?
you can.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
For what purpose, just to keep, people would see it again and.
They would see it again. So you can boost posts. I would suggest trying not to do that. If you do a post and it's getting a little bit of popularity and your fans are already liking it, try and put $5 on that because you're already getting organic engagement, and so that's going to help it go further. Some of these posts, if they're evergreen content, so if it's about April Fool's Day, I probably shouldn't be posting it anymore. But if it's something like an offer and it did really well and you still have the offer, you can boost it and you can see how that goes. When it's in someone's newsfeed, they don't necessarily see the date on there on a sponsored post, so it's not like they're going to see it and think, oh, that's really old. If they look at the comments, they can see the time and dates that those were posted, but it will still be boosted like a regular post, so it doesn't matter when the date is. I would suggest trying to boost posts that you've done that day or that are pretty recent. Yeah.
Where do I find that page?
Okay. So, do you know where insights are? So, if you're on your phone, it'll be on the bottom and it'll look like a little chart. Oh, I don't know where it is on a tablet. I don't have one. But I can help you find it afterwards. But basically, when you get to your insights, all you'll need to do is you can click on posts within insights. So it'll be right here. And you can scroll through some of the other options and just see what kind of insights you can grab from there. Just try and look at them. Probably, if you can't do it on a weekly basis, at least on a monthly basis. Because if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know what's working, you can't really improve on it either. So that is all.